MOT, aka Memorandum of Transfer, has been used so widely, but still not all people knows exactly what it is. So today I'm going to share with you what is MOT and all the related topics around it. So here's the general concept. It is an instrument to transfer the title ownership from the developers or the sellers to the new buyers. And stamp duty is not the same as MOT, right? Stamp duty is a type of tax, and the payment payable for the MOT is actually the stamp duty charged on the MOT itself, aka the Form 14A, whereas the type of the stamp duty charged on the MOT is what we call the ad valorem stamp duty, which is based on the tier of the price or the value of the property instead of a fixed stamp duty, as we can see in the case when we calculate for the stamp duty for loan agreement LA, which is a flat rate of 0.5% of the loan amount. So where MOT can be used? It can only be used when the land title, right? We have master title, individual title, and strata title are properly registered prior to the transfer. If not, normally we would use DOA, deed of assignment, while for the strata titles we would normally have another document, we call it DMC, deed of mutual covenant, to preset the terms and conditions for the community that we're going to stay together, to be part of the community in the strata development, such as the banning of pets in the community, or certain renovations are not allowed in the community, etc. So what if the title is not yet to be perfected? So in this case, the land titles are not yet properly registered, and we have two common ways to deal with this. Number one, we have direct transfer. Direct transfer happens whereby the developer actually gives a consent to the seller to transfer the ownership from the buyers directly from the developer, and the new buyer will sign the MOT instead of the old buyer. And direct transfer is quite common for a freehold development with non-perfected titles. And next we have double transfer, whereby in this case is more commonly to be seen in a leasehold development, where the developer do not give a consent for the direct transfer, and the transfer of ownership from developer to the seller and from the seller to the buyers itself need to be done for both transfer. So this will be a very lengthy process, as two MOTs need to be perfected to complete the whole process of double transfer example. Also, since that the title need to be doubly revised in the case whereby the developers has not applied for the subdivision of the title, then we would use DOA, as mentioned before, deeds of assignment, to record the transfer of ownership from the seller to the buyer. So the calculation is based on tier, where you took the first portion of the SPA price if it's more than 100,000, and then you times that 100,000 to 1% and the remaining amounts into the relevant portion of the percentage. So say for example, a 400,000 property, we took the first 100,000 from the 400,000, right, price. So that 100,000 will be charged for 1%, which is 1,000 ringgit. And the remaining 300,000 will be charged based on the second tier, which is at 2%. So that 300,000 amount will translate into 6,000 ringgit. And now the total MOT stamp duty payable for the buyers would be 7,000 ringgit. Now we move on to the exemptions on MOT. So for the exemptions on MOT, we have three cases. Number one is that under budget 2021, first house buyer can get a full exemption on MOT for a transfer of property based on the SPA from January 2021 onwards until 31st of December 2025 for a property of price not exceeding 500,000 ringgit. Number two is that we have HOC, which is until the end of 2021 if there's no further extension by the government, whereby it's only applicable for a residential property priced from 300,000 to 2.5 million. And the MOT's exemption is limited to the first 1 million only. So the remaining amount apart from that 1 million would be charged based on 3% instead of the original 4%. Number 3 is that for transfer of property between parents and children and husband and wife, there's exemption for these two types of relationship under the love and affection, whereby for the parents and children part, there's 50% exemption on the MOT payable, but for a transfer between husband and wives, there's a 100% exemption for MOT under love and affection. Bear in mind there's only these two types of relationships applicable for the full exemption or half exemption of the MOT. So here's a bonus. Once the MOT is stamped and completed, the original copy of the land title of the unit will not be sent directly to the buyers if the buyers bought the property via loans from the banks, as the banks would now be the chargee, or we call it the mortgagee of the property instead of the buyers, as they are the one that loan the money for the buyers to purchase the property. So normally the buyers would only get a copy of it until he or she or the purchaser in the form of company settled the full loan outstanding to the banks respectively. Also, buyers need to sign one document, we call it MOC, Memorandum of Charge, if they purchase via loans from the banks to certify the charge on the property by the banks themselves. So here's the summary. Number 1, MOT is not the same as stamp duty. MOT is a document, stamp duty is a tax, and MOT transfer will be charged for a tax, which we call it stamp duty. Number 2 is that to be a registered and valid owner, one must have a land title transferred via MOT or other ways such as DOA, in the case where the title is not yet perfected. Number 3 is that there are actually exemptions for MOT through either the HOC or the Budget 2021 exemptions or the under love and affection exemptions. That's all for MOT. Thanks for watching, and if you want to learn more about property,
please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Follow me on my next video.